Now, we all know that the isekai genre can be a bit oversaturated these days, with tons of stories about ordinary people getting transported to fantasy worlds. But trust me, there are some real hidden gems out there that don't always get the love they deserve. So sit back, relax, and get ready to discover some truly unique and interesting isekai manga that are sure to leave you wanting for more. So now, let's dive in. Moving on to our number 5, A Veterinarian in Another World. Our protagonist Shingo Kazami is a federal veterinarian who gets randomly summoned to a fantasy world. But this isn't your typical isekai adventure. Nope. Shingo's mission is to use his medical expertise to save the people and animals of this new underdeveloped land. See, in this fantasy world, they are seriously lacking in the science and medicine department, and folks are dropping like flies from all sorts of disease and natural disasters. But lucky for them, they have got Shingo the veterinarian on the case. Now, I gotta warn you, this one starts off pretty strong, but it does hit a bit of a snag when it comes to some of the more questionable romantic subplots. Let's just say the whole a girl throwing herself at the 26-year-old MC thing is a bit of a turn off. But if you can look past that, A Veterinarian in Another World is a genuinely heartwarming and unique isekai experience. Number 4. The Savior's Book Cafe Story in Another World. Our protagonist, Tsukina, is a 30-something bookworm who gets told by some god that she's got to save this other world. But here is the twist. Tsukina is not having any of it. Nope, she's got way more important things to do, like opening up her very own cozy little book cafe. But of course, the other saviors in this world aren't too happy about Tsukina's non-hero lifestyle. And when one of them starts causing trouble, our girl Tsukina might just have to put on her hero hat after all. Now, what I love about this manga is that Tsukina actually acts like a grown-up instead of falling into those stereotypical isekai tropes. She's smart, she's practical, and she's got no time for any chosen one nonsense. All she wants is to live her best book-loving life in this new fantasy world. The pacing is nice and steady, the characters are charming, and the overall vibe is just so darn cozy and heartwarming. Number 3. Sister and Giant. A young lady is reborn in another world. Our protagonist, Hinako, gets reincarnated in another world, but instead of going for some cheat-like powers, she decides to take a vow of sisterhood with a giant named Elias. Now, talk about an unlikely duo. These two may not have much in common on the surface. Hinako is a prim and proper lady, while Elias is a total fearsome titan. They are both in a mission to find those who meant the most to them in their previous lives. And let me tell you, their quest is gonna be anything but easy, especially when a rude paladin catches wind of their legendary strength. Now, I gotta say, the character development in this manga is top-notch, even if it's still early days. You'll feel like you know Hinako and Alice inside out, despite there only being a handful of chapters so far. And the world building is pretty darn impressive too, with some really cool twists on the usual isekai tropes. Number 2. Magical Explorer. Imagine you are living in the world of a legendary game, but instead of being a superpowered protagonist, you end up reincarnating as the unlucky comic relief best friend. Talk about a raw deal, right? But this isn't a typical side character gets stepped on kind of story. Nope. Our protagonist, the former best friend, is actually pretty darn likable and relatable. He's got a ton of depth, and you can't help but feel for the guy as he navigates this crazy new world. And let me tell you, the art in this manga is absolutely stunning. We are talking top-notch eye-catching visuals that really bring this fantasy world to life. Plus, the plot is engaging with some great twists and turns that will keep you hooked. Now, I know what you're thinking, but wait, isn't this a harem game world? Where are all the heroines? Well, don't worry. They are definitely on the way, and let me just say that some girl character is already turning heads, so if you are in the mood for an isekai manhwa that's a little bit different from the normal, be sure to check out Magical Explorer. Number 1. Growing tired of the lazy high elf life after 120 years. Our protagonist, Acer, is a high elf who lived a nice peaceful life in the Great Pulha woodlands for over 120 years. But let me tell you, he's getting bored out of his mind with all that stillness and tranquility. See, Acer's got a secret. He remembers living a past life as a human in another world, and that means he's got a taste for a little bit more excitement than your average elf. Now, I got to warn you, this manga doesn't shy away from the bittersweet side of being a long-lived elf. There are some pretty emotional moments as Acer makes friends and watches them grow old and pass on. But the story handles it with a delicate touch, really capturing the perspective of someone who has seen a whole lot of life. The world building is top-notch, with lots of Lord of the Rings and Frieren vibes, and the pacing is pretty meaty, with each chapter clocking in at over 35 pages, so you can really sink your teeth into this one. As you can see, there are some truly fascinating stories out there that don't always get the spotlight they deserve. But that's why we are here to shine a light on the hidden gems and share our passion for these awesome isekai adventures. So, if you're hungry for something a little different in the isekai genre, be sure to check out these titles we have covered today. Trust me, you won't be disappointed. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time for the top 10 countdowns of the best and the most underrated manga and anime out there. Stay curious, my friends. Peace out.